Wednesday, December 23rd, 2020, 1:55 p.m. This is episode number 10 of the Factorio podcast. My name is Blake. This is Paul. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Blake.
Hey, man.
How's your afternoon going?
Good. We were two things happened today. One, we looked through the Steam sale, which rolled out last night. There's always a November Steam sale and a December Steam sale. It's hard for geeks like you and me to get excited about sales anymore because we really only have one game.
One game
that we care about at all.
I got a lot in my queue.
I haven't queued so long. Yeah. And right.
Nothing can take first place over Factorio.
It doesn't, man. It really doesn't, man. So we looked a little bit of that. I'll just tell you this. We had a great idea just a few minutes ago that Steam should have an abandoned tag.
Yep.
On games that have been abandoned by the developer or de-supported or something, like end of life, right? Meaning you will never get another update. Okay, other software, productivity, Windows, SQL versions, server versions, everything in Microsoft's world, everything in the Oracle world, Linux, all of those have versions of software, and then at some point the company will go, okay, we move from there's early access, there's production, and then there's support only, meaning no new features, but we're still going to fix bugs and security, and then there's end of life, meaning it is what it is forever. We're done with it. So any support tickets you file with us, we're going to tell you to upgrade. Sorry. And they give you warnings and all that. So think about that on the game. Okay, that's productivity software. Think about that in the game arena. Where we are, and then okay, what does that do with sales of Steam games? Would it increase sales? Probably.
I don't know.
Not.
It sounds like it would be abandoned. People wouldn't want to buy it. So who would mark it?
Right.
Why would you mark your game as done?
Yeah, I guess there's no motivation to do it because there's no version 2 or something like that, right? But I mean, that's why if you're a productivity software like Windows or something, you go, okay, we're going to mark this version as obsolete so that you will be pressured. There's a little more upward pressure to upgrade to our newest software, and buy that version, right?
Yeah, that's like the idea behind that, though, is then you have like one game that goes on forever. Which is great because you just do Factorio and then you do Factorio 2 and then you do Factorio 3.
Right.
No, you do Factorio and then you go from 1 to 5, right? That's what Angular did. Yeah. You skip a couple versions.
Yeah. 2 through 4, they're in the trash can. They're on the editing room floor. Whatever. Right?
If you need the one that's in between, use your iPhone 9.
Or maybe that. Okay, so maybe what they would do is, okay, there is a strategy that you would say, all right, I'm selling, say, 10 units a month at $20 steady, but it's abandoned. What I could do is put that tag on there as abandoned, end of life, drop it down to 5.
Ooh.
And go, okay, maybe if I sell 5 times as much, and we drop it to a fourth of the price, but we sell 5 times as much, maybe that's the thing is that, okay, it's the same thing as going to the bargain basement bin or old calendars or, like I'm trying to move these units for a deep discount. Let's go ahead and clear out this inventory. And it's obviously, okay, something like, okay, Christmas lights on December 26th. Right?
You got to get rid of them. Yep.
Got to get rid of them. Deep discounts. Stores have tons of inventory, and they're not going to sell anything. So then they throw them in this bin, and they go from $7 a reel to $1 a reel. Got to move them. Right.
Yep.
I need to get them out.
Games don't cost you anything either, so
there's no inventory.
You might as well.
Right?
If you don't, what happens? You're going to end up as a free game on the Epic Store someday.
Right. Well, or yeah. So you look at your long tail of, okay, my highest value was release day. In Factorio's case, it's August 14th, right?
Yep.
And then okay, legitimately, it always does this. It goes down, and there's a long tail of sales. Now, if that sales trickles off and it flatlines, well, then maybe you can, if you have a really steady flat line of, say, 9 months of 20 units a month, 20, oh, whatever it is, I'm just making up a number, 20 units a month, maybe then I can go, okay, as a company, we're done with this. I think the market will bear, I can drop it down to $5 and I'm going to sell 100 units a month. We do a little market, a special campaign, and we say, guys, bargain basement bin, come get them. We're going to be done with this game. But at the same time, we go, all right, we're done with this game. Here's a great sale, but we're also going to offer it with a bundle with our newest game.
That's the idea right there. That's the plan.
And if you buy the bundle, you get 10% off the new game or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
That would be ideal, and you bundle that tag up with a marketing campaign. Same way you bundle that is exactly what the bargain basement bin is for December 26th Christmas lights. It's they put a giant sign up and say, "Come get them. They're cheap, right?" To move some units, right?
All right. Let me ask you then. Let me ask you the $1 million question, which is probably on everyone's mind right now. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think a year from now, Factorio is going to be saying, you know what? If we drop our price, you think they're ever going to do it? Because the way you're talking, this is just business. It's
business.
Just business. It's all about, hey, I can make more money if I just drop the price. If I put it on sale, I'm going to make more bucks.
Right.
Do you think they'll do it in a year? They said maybe I won't. They said we probably won't.
Right. Okay, well, here's the thing. It would make business sense to do it. You're right. It's just good business. If I'm selling 100 units a month at $30 or at $30, can I sell 200 a month at 25? Right? And the end of the day, my predicted revenue was this. Now my ending revenue is this if I do this thing. But here's the thing. Woob has never been about making money.
Hey, you know what? Nobody is when they have more cash than they need.
Right.
Maybe they did really well. It's beyond a maybe. They did really well. If they want to do another game and they need a runway and they want a bigger team, suddenly money becomes an issue. And as you know, you're in software, budget raises up to the surface. Budget is always going to be there unless it's
triangle,
some
right?
miracle. Yeah.
Right. The triangle of quality, speed, and price, right? It's always there. So, but here's the thing. The reason I know they've never been concerned with money. Concerned, okay?
Yeah.
You know how I know? It's $20, not $19.99.
Yes.
That 1 cent is a proven 1,000% never fails to drive more units. It is never resulted in a loss of revenue to drop it down by 1 cent, 1/100th of the price, no matter the currency, whether it is in rubles or pounds or euros or francs or Deutschmarks or any of that. 3000 is not as good as 2999. It is not.
The guy that invented it gets a penny on every single transaction. He's a billionaire. Yes. Every single one. He gets a penny. There's this one guy who gets that 1 penny on every single one. He patented it. You can't sell it at $19.99.
Right,
that's why they go down to $19.95.
Right. And Woob didn't want to pay that mother trucker, right? So that is a market. It may as well, you have market theories and market principles. That's market law at this point. It is beyond proven, and they do not do it. It is called, I guess it's called round down psychology, and they do not do it. And they've never been concerned with it. So
yeah, it gets everyone. I would love to sit here and say, oh, it doesn't get me. It doesn't get me.
It does.
I would love to. I'm too smart for that. That's all.
You're not.
Nobody is.
You're not. You're not smart enough.
Nobody's above it.
You're not. You're not. It gets you. You're human, and it'll get you. So.
Yep.
The other one, okay, so that was part of my afternoon. We went down a rabbit hole for that. The other part of my afternoon was a biter battle. We did one, first one in 10 months. When was the last one we did? February, March?
I think it was pre-COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, it was near the end of COVID, because I remember as we were getting into the finals, I remember we transitioned to work from home, and I thought, oh, cool. There's no longer a concern. I will be at this chair for the biter battles, no matter where I am. I'm going to be in this exact chair. So,
and the guy who organized it, Tayshawn, started doing this streamer thing, Brave New World C Block, something or other, and he's beaten it in 50 hours or something like that. So he's been doing that, and he talks about it for like 8 months, 9 months. Ever since Biter Battle was over, he switched over to that. But he's just about done, so maybe the timing is going to work out. Maybe this is going to be another Biter Battle tournament.
Yeah, so a couple things. So what I reviewed over in the start of mine is that there's a different group doing it now. They are still okay. So a couple things that we I'll give you the state, and then I'll give you the state of where we are, and then I'll give you the next few things that need to happen for us to kick up.
Okay, before we do that, there's probably a lot of viewers who are going to watch this who don't even know what Biter Battles are. Right? So it's a match, right? It's a match between two people.
Yeah, it's a custom scenario in Factorio that was done by a community. Mostly, it was refined and honed by a group called Comfy. You can go comfy.eu, comfy.eu. They have a Discord out there. Great bunch of guys that work super hard on Factorio. They just have a passion for Factorio. They like hanging out together. They have public servers. They do this all the time. They're just great dudes, right? So. The issue with Biter Battles it's a 2-team contest where it's a custom scenario where a river separates 2 batches of Factorio land. One cannot cross or shoot across the river. And on each side there is a silo that you must defend against biters. And each team is charged with generating science as quickly as possible, and they can either run up their own tech tree, because in Factorio you need to run up your own tech tree to increase production and get defenses and military and all that. The other one is that they can either instantly consume the science, which beefs up and increases the count of the opposing team's biters and biter attacks.
So it forces attacks against them, puts the pressure on.
So each team will begin having small little trickles of biter attacks that they have to defend off. And what you want to do is you want to beef up the other team's biters so that it's harder for them to defend their own base. So you're not doing direct attacks. You're essentially throwing harder and faster and more frequent biter attacks at the enemy silo. And if they get overwhelmed and they lose their silo, then they lose. Pollution does not play a role. They go to a couple of measures called evolution, which is part of vanilla. And as your evolution goes upwards, the biters go from small to medium to large to behemoth, and you can see the number of hit points go up, the speed goes up, the attack damage goes up, the amount of damage they can do. And then there's this other interesting measure called threat, and evolution only goes upward. Threat is the frequency and the amount of the batch of biters the waves of biters that come at you. And threat goes up all the time, and as the evolution goes up, the threat slope increases, right? So it goes up exponentially. When a team goes and kills off a bunch of biters, the threat goes down because you've now dealt with the threat, but it always continually goes up. So there's a couple strategies where you can go, and I'm going to go get on offense, and I'm going to go attack some of these biters and kind of bring the fight to one spot so I can keep the threat low and keep building and maybe attacking the other team, right? So that's kind of the concept of Biter Battles. If you want to go check them out, there's a lot more on my YouTube channel in the old playlist. There's a couple seasons worth that you can go watch. Great matches we had last season, which was early March of this year. I guess it ended. Some of the best play, some of the most innovative play we've seen in a long time. It was really great. And so So where we are now, so that was version 0.18.
I think so. Yeah, that was pre 1.0. So that was 0.18.
It was either late 17 or early 18. One of the two. I think it was 18. As someone can look that up in the chat and tell us what as of March 2020, were we on 17 or 18? I think it was 18.
It has to be 18.
Has to be 18, right? So now we're on version 1.0. Another group has taken it up and put it on a server, and they've done some work on it. It's a little bit more balanced than anything else. So what I noticed about today is it's 1.0, not 1.1. So they have not rolled the stuff to 1.1 or the map. I mean, it's map blueprints. There's a couple other things that are there. There's some other niceties. Spidertron is now in, which Spidertron was not in, right? Because Spidertron did not exist until August.
Yep.
Those sneaky bastards. The other thing is that the matches used to be January, right? So we rolled to 18 kind of at the start of that season. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Troopin. So the map used to be mirrored on north and south land masses and rotated, so that if you had an oil patch up here in the upper left, on the south team you would have an oil patch here on the lower right.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's equal. Well,
it's equal.
It used to be equal.
Right. Now the oil patch, the patches are like this. They're mirrored exactly, which someone in chat said, wait a second, wasn't it rotated as well? And I said, well, they said, well, that could make a difference in orientation too, right?
No small difference. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to use like the same builds.
Right.
Mirrored.
What he said was oil pump jacks. Right. Because that oil pump jack has a specific rotation because it's always in the upper right corner, no matter which way it is. So little tiny things like that could have an advantage, right?
Oh yeah, they could have one less pump jack.
Right.
It may not be able to output.
Right. And if it's right next to a rock or something like that, or not a rock, but
another
cliff,
oil,
or another oil, or something like that, where you can't fit a pipe in between there. Very small, minor difference, but it is a difference. So that was interesting. They've also played around with so Spidertron is in. That's a change from earlier this year, and they've also played around with the ratings, because you used to be able to play on easy, normal, hard, nightmare, and what that is a measure of the pack power that you throw to your other team.
Yeah, some people refer to it as game speed, or how long the game lasts.
Yes,
it nightmare is a quick game. Easy is a long game.
So it's not UPS values that we're talking about, and speed of the biters running, or speed of your speed running, but it does affect how long the game goes, because every science pack thrown at the other team is now counts more. So your red science that you throw in the beginning counts way more than it did otherwise. The scale used to be, normal was 100%, hard was 150, impossible was 200, etc. They've shifted that upwards, where normal is 150. So now your lower end kind of is non-existent, and playing on normal was where it was on, I think, hard last time. So your science throws now early on now count way more than they did.
Yep.
So it's
faster
a quicker match, right? Yeah. It was the end result.
So there was a match today, right? It was between how many people were playing?
It was a 5-on-5.
All right, this was a planned scrimmage of some sort, or a tournament.
Right. It's not a tournament. I got approached. When was it, on Saturday or Sunday? And they said, "Hey man, we're doing a match on Wednesday. We'd like to have a public match. We're going to invite a bunch of streamers in. We're going to start this thing up again." And I went, "Oh, hey, I love doing that." And I get messages every week, either on YouTube or on in Twitch chat or on Discord. "Hey man, when are you gonna do some Spider Battles game? Hey man, And I said, well, it's not really up to me. It's this other deal. And I said, well, I guess it could be up to me, right? Oh yeah, it was Sunday night when they asked me. So they said Wednesday at noon we're going to do this thing. We'd like you to stream it. We'd like you to help build some hype and get the community going again. I said fantastic. So and it was and so I asked the question. What Omni was saying was on Saturdays, what they do is they do like an old school dodgeball team captain pick'em game.
Yep.
Where they get two captains and then they line all the other players up against the wall and said, all right, you pick first. All right, I got Paul, I got Veldak, and then they alternate picks. I got this, and then the last mother trucker to get picked gets on the team, because that happens.
Always has got to be the last person.
There's first picked and there's last picked. Law of the jungle. Whatever
get better.
Get better. I don't know. Get good, Scrub. I don't know.
It's up to you.
That's up to you, man.
I mean, if you're picked last, it shouldn't be hard to get picked second last.
Yeah, that's right.
But if you pick second, it's going to be hard to be picked first.
That's right. Right. So there's that. That happens every Saturday, which was interesting. This match happened to be a preset group of we're going to arrange a 5-on-5, etc.
So it's Team Omni
versus Team Iron Axe.
Okay, Team Iron Axe.
Yeah. Someone said Iron Axe was a group of speed runners at their core, but they weren't part of Steel Axe, the famed group that gets after all the speedrun records and anti-elites and those guys. I think they went off and they asked Anti, which I'm sure he gets hit up all the time to be a part of this or a part of that, right? I'm sure you do too, right? And, hey man, why don't you come over to my server? But they asked him to be a part of it. They asked him. They said no. But there was another team that was different speedrunners they put together, and they did a match, and it was great. It was great to see again.
How'd it go?
So it was a 48-minute match.
That's a nice time.
That's a great time. Right.
On the spectrum of time investment, this Fighter Battles has gone as far as 3.5 hours for one match.
4 and 5 back in March.
4 and 5 back in March, all the way down to like these nightmare modes where it's 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
So 49 minutes, that's right in line with the big games, right? League of Legends, Dota, those types of games are all somewhere 30-45 minutes. So 49 minutes, that sounds like a great time.
It is. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I like that to aim. If you can aim for 40 to 45 minutes, that is your sweet spot for a bite-sized match, right?
Yeah, it's about how long it takes to drink a cup of coffee, and then you go grab another one in between matches.
Actually, I did. I started the stream. I had a full fresh cup of coffee sitting right there, and then as I hosted you, I took my last swig and brought my cup into the other room. So
you're making me thirsty. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we've been dancing around us. Who came out ahead?
Team Omni won. They took it home. So
good job, Team Omni.
Team Omni. They did all they needed to do. They set up a good wall. They had good. They got up there. They were the first ones to get their science up and running. They had a minimum. They had actually a little bit overinflated starting area. But their first science was hand feed. But what was important about it was the first science. Mm-hmm. They were the first ones to have 3 labs going that was automated. But it was hand feed for the copper and the gears to get their red science going. But it was 3 labs and it was all automated. Just 2 hand feeds and then they're done. They didn't have. They were late on their first automated smelting line, but it didn't matter because they were down the tech tree and they already had smelting up and running. So
yep. Now I tuned in for just a moment. I didn't watch the whole thing. I was multitasking. Uh-huh. I didn't see an easy start on that map, did I? It was a rough start. Well, there wasn't a nice big iron patch, was there?
Correct. So
what was going on at the start? So tell us a little bit about how they had to deal with a complex start.
Yeah, so in these biter battles, what you'll find is many times the starting area will either have resource patches that are butting right up against each other. It's compact, so there's either a line to deal with where copper and iron are butting up against each other in a weird, awkward way. So you have to either deal with that in miners, or mixed ore, or they'll have a smashed together mixed ore patch with all 4 starting resources all in one horrible patch, and that they have to deal with. The latter was the case today, where they had a big mixed patch. They had some iron, but it was jumbled in with all the rest of the stuff.
So it's like there was no way to get a miner down. That was just iron.
Correct. Coal. So, they could get a few in there, but it wasn't a nice
like
line.
A half dozen, maybe.
Yes, you could probably. They probably get it. They had to deal with some
complexities.
Right. So they had to. So they had a nice stone patch, a copper patch, and a coal patch, but their iron was going to be limited. So they immediately had to fan out and go find a new iron patch to go have a main feed, which is one. So one team did that. The losing team actually did that. Found some iron and poured it back to base. That took them a while. Whereas
too little, too late.
Too little, too late. Team Omni just said, "All right, screw it. Our iron is going all hand feed for the first couple of sciences." So they just doubled down and they didn't put any miners on that early iron, any electric miners. They had all burner miners, and it was all hand feed. Just then they generated as much as they could, because the time it took to navigate the belting and the electric miners mining zones would have put them behind the 8 ball, because it really is it's a team speed run against the other players is what it really is. And they were able to generate way more iron than they would have otherwise. Just commit to a really big hand-fed burner starting city, and hand feed their first rounds of science. I think they were hand feeding greens even, because they had their like in your famed default settings, any percent speed runs, you would have a handful of green circuit builds and handful of gears and belts inserting into green science, right? Kind of a seven assembly build with some inserters. You here's where you put copper, and here's where you put iron, and it feeds everything else. Right, where you could hand feed 2 boxes, and then you're kind of done for a while, and then you can go off and do something else. They kind of had that early on, all hand fed, nothing belted, and they were able to get up the tech tree pretty quick, and that also got them down the field in terms of then they were able, once they got the tech up, they were able to get defenses up and grenades early, because the best part about grenades are a big step up in technology, because they're one-shot kills for small biters. Grenades are underused in most early games, because military science takes a couple of reds to get up through it, and then one set of, I think, 35 greens, and you're done, and you have grenades unlocked. Right? Is it 35? Did I get that right? And then it's coal and iron, and you can kill 100 biters by swarming them on you with armor. Throw the grenade at your feet. You don't die. You take a little damage, but all the 100 biters around you die.
One grenade, boom.
One grenade, boom.
Versus like 200 rounds of ammo.
Right. So they were able to. So doing that hand feed, they got up through military tech pretty quick, all hand fed, got grenades, and then they were able to push out and go expand into the belted iron. So that's what they did.
Okay, so that's like the meta, right? That's the standard approach, right? Grenades, walling yourself in a little bit so the biters don't get into your internals, keep them contained, getting some science up so you can get grenades early, getting some automation up so you can send science at them. Did you see anything new in terms of what players did that was like, oh, nobody's ever done that before? Because you know me, I love new. Anything that nobody's ever done before.
Yes.
I'm always interested in. Okay, what do they do? Okay,
you're going to like this. Okay, so I don't know how effective it was, but it's a good thought process, right? It's good thought process.
Okay? Yeah, they're trying something new.
Okay, so what they did was they had think of a turret box, okay? What they needed to have done is make the box bigger. So that is wall on the outside, turrets on the inside. Okay. They had their wall right up against their turrets, so biters could reach over.
Yep. And also, it's the angle at which the turret has to turn is bigger, so that it takes them longer to switch targets.
Yes.
Right. Because if a biter's really close, it's got to,
right.
Move a lot.
You want your air gap. You want an air gap between the turret, one square, and the wall, so that the wall's out just a little bit bigger. That keeps the biters from hitting in. But they had a great concept, but what killed them was their wall was too tight. They needed a gap. Okay. But
what was that concept?
The concept was, it wasn't a rectangle where you just put 8 or 10 turrets and then you drag your ammo across. Nay. It was a square, and they threw ammo in the middle turret. And then they had inserters feeding outer turrets where they used an inner turret as a container for ammo.
Yeah, because why use a box when you can just use another turret?
Right. Yeah, right. And look, it's a 2x2 container. Right? So you could get 2 inserters feeding 2 turrets. So you have one in the center.
Like one in the center and then 2 on the right-hand side and left-hand side.
Then you had 8. You had 8 around the square. Right.
8. Can you get 8?
Yes. Well, think about one insert. So one turret with 2 inserters. Yeah. So you have 8. So they had a 9-box turret with inserters and power running in there.
So they were regular inserters, not coal inserters. So they ran a pole all the way up there.
Yes, they did. So here's the downside. Here's where that was most innovative. I've never seen that before. It was great thinking. It's good. It's good trying stuff. So here's where it fell short. It was a great thinking, but here's where the design fell short. One, you're right. Your first observation is you got to run power out there, because otherwise your hand feed. So your choice is you either run power or you hand feed burner inserter coal. That's tough, right?
Yeah. It's tough. You just, if you have 50 coal, you just drop a couple in there.
Right. It lasts a long time, but
it's a little bit more micromanaging.
It's a little more micromanaging.
Aren't so bad.
They're not so bad.
And if you have power up there, you can throw a radar so you can see it. So it's not bad.
Yes, I did see the winning team put down a radar very early, which I thought was good. I was always, back in March, I was always saying, these guys need to use radars. Anytime you have something outside that norm, that inside, outside the starting area, radars are pretty cheap.
Yeah,
they're cheap to make. They're quick to make. They do take a little bit of power, but a little bit of power, more than one would think. But they are worth it in what the hell's going on in my base, right?
Yep.
It's worth it. I was always wanting to see teams invest in radars more. So,
well, that's just because as a spectator, you wanted to always see everything, right? No,
but if I'm on that team, I want to be able to watch my build and see what kind of ammo I have left over, see if biters are attacking, right? Radars do allow the opposition to see what you built, but
really?
When you fish, when you fish, it does, right? Because if you can see it, when they fish, they can see it. Remember, you consume a fish?
Yeah, but who doesn't always just consume fish the whole game?
They do. We saw some fish consuming, but remember, if you can see it, the other team can see it when they fish, right?
Yeah, I don't understand how building a radar is going to cost. It doesn't matter.
Anyway,
doesn't matter. It's still worth it.
One downside with this design is that you did have to run power out there. Second part was, which easily corrected, make the wall bigger, leave the gap in the wall. Third, the container size is 1 stack. So that turret in the center only holds 1 stack of ammo, and it's feeding 8 of them at a time. That doesn't last long.
200 rounds, though, isn't it?
No, it's 100 rounds. Is 200 rounds? No, it is 200 rounds. Right.
I don't know. I think it's 200.
What's the stack size? What's the stack size of normal rounds of the first yellow rounds? I think it's 200. Right?
It's 200. Right? Chad says 200.
Right. It is good.
That's a lot.
But eight turrets burning through rounds the whole time, because every attack, all 8 of them go off. it goes down quick, and it's only one square. All right. Remember that. So the turret container size is one stack only.
Yeah.
So what you would probably do is throw 200 in the center, and then everything else you go, and you run around and you distribute it evenly so that you give it a start, and then you leave your ammo there.
Yeah, you're assuming though that there's more than 200 rounds. I mean, that's 800 iron plates in a stack, right?
Steep. Yes.
800 iron plates that's hundreds of science,
right?
That you could have sent, right? So there's some trade-offs,
right?
That's expensive.
Yeah, it is expensive.
There's one thing I do remember about biter battles, and using regular yellow ammo was one of the least cost-effective resource to small biter killing mechanisms, right? Because that 200 stack of ammo, which is 800 iron plates, it may kill the same amount of biters as 3 grenades that you were talking about before.
Right,
3 well-placed grenades.
3 grenades is
30
iron. Yeah,
30 iron.
Yeah, that's it.
And that makes a world of difference.
Makes a ton of difference, right?
But it's still cool.
It's still good. It was it was a really innovative design, and I keyed in on it. And I went, "Oh, this is pretty good." I like their thinking on this, and they just use that as a starting point. So I don't know that it's better than putting those 8 or 9 turrets in a rectangle and leaving, just a normal rectangular pillbox that you would see. So what we're talking about is a 4x2 row of turrets, distribute it manually, and then run a wall around it with a gap in between, a one-space gap, so biters can't reach over. I don't know that it's better than that, but it did open up my brain to a new way to do pillboxes with power. So one way that is very common is you'll see a wall, turrets line along the wall, and then a belt runs behind the turrets and inserts ammo, a belt of ammo, and there's inserters.
Yeah,
that's very common in, say, early single-player games where a newer player will wall themselves in, etc. Biter battles, there's not really a ton of time for that, so they've found a. Also, you're not getting attacked from all directions, right? You don't have to wall your entire base in. You're getting attacked from very specific 4 or 5 lanes of attack.
They still only attack from like the one side?
Yeah. So if you think about an hourglass shape, there's a big nest of biters in a triangle at the bottom, and then your base is up here, and at the top of the map there is a triangle of nests at the top. And they all come down, they kind of channel down. There's a little bit of differentiation. But still, you could boil it down between about 4 to 6 lanes of attack. And if you plug those lanes, you plug your defenses, which is what Omni did. So anyway, that was an interesting I guess that was really the only most innovative thing I saw there, or something I had not seen before, or any new meta. It was an interesting try. They ended up. I also saw some throwback. I saw stone furnace as a wall. I saw pipe as a wall. Right. Because if you're low on stone brick, you can't. I mean, pipe is still a barrier.
Walls are expensive there. How many bricks each?
Right.
8?
If you're low on stone, walls are by far the most effective because they have a bunch of hit points, and it's stone. That's probably your number one use of stone early on is get your smelters up, but then also get some wall up and defend your base. You can consume a ton of stone brick into your wall, right?
Yeah, I remember. And if you're running military science, it consumes all of that brick.
All that brick. Easy. Yeah.
Easy.
So, otherwise, it was a decent match. 45 minutes in and out, really, really well done. I did like the one other funny thing at the end that was new is, you remember what happens when your rocket silo dies?
Oh yeah. At
the very end, there's a nuclear explosion that takes out your base. If your rocket silo dies, it blows up. Doesn't just blow up, it blows up in a nuclear explosion. And then around it, in the old one, there's fireworks that go off. There's little sprinkles of iron and coal and copper ore and stone ore. It looks like little fireworks. Looks like little sprays of it, right? But it's the shards that come off as a result of you hitting your steel axe on something. Plink, plink. The shards, right? They explode. That's gone. It now explodes, and roughly 3,000 fish land on the ground, which is pretty funny. So that was neato. At the very, very end, there's just a ton of fish all over the ground. Like the rocket silo was made of fish, which is neato.
So now you said that they're playing this every Saturday, right? They're doing that pickup game.
Yeah, it looks like they're playing this all the time because there were 2 servers up. There was a practice server. I think it looks like it was reserved for teams, and there was a public server, which I think was up 24/7. And the training server it looks like it's reserved for admins and whatever. But that was that. It looks like it's I guess it's called the Raven Discord. It's the group. Their group is called the Raven Group. I guess it's a guy named Raven who runs the thing. And Style Raven, something Raven. I forget his first name. It's called Raven. But anyway, he's got 2 servers up, same as the Comfy guys had. Comfy had the 24/7 public, and then they had their one for the server for their matches.
Yep.
Same thing. Same story. And they said they get formal with it on Saturdays and do the dodgeball pick'em, which I think that's pretty great, man.
Oh yeah. It's fun. It's fun to play competitive games when you don't have a group and you don't want to schedule something 2 weeks in advance with a group. So you just say, all right, we just want to play some ball, right? I mean, that's where it originates from, is sports.
Yep, it's sports, right.
People want to play basketball and they go to the school and they want to play. Well, line up.
Yep.
Aaron and Tony, your captains.
Yeah.
Tony, you pick first. I was always last on the playground. I was never good.
Really? Yeah.
But when it comes to video games, I can confidently say I won't be last.
You're on the podium. I won't
be last.
I won't be last. Right. Yeah.
How does one get involved? How do you play? You said there's a Discord? There's
a Discord, and I'll get the links to all that. They invited me to like 3 Discords of various folks of doing the of involvement. One of them had all the server information. Another one was a team that was putting themselves together. I can post a link I'll post a link in chat here, but it was pretty good. So
okay. And then there's a public server you can join. I think there's always been a Biter Battles public server. Is that still up?
Right. I don't know if I didn't check if the Comfy one was. This one was. If you browse public games in your Factorio, look for no password and look for Raven, and you should see. And it said Raven Biter Battles. I think the Biter Battles was in red, or Raven was in red, or something. Some red text.
I'm loading that up right now just to see.
Okay. Yeah, but it looks mostly like very similar to the Comfy strategy, where this is just a bunch of guys that like playing, and they're passionate. They like Factorio. They like Biter Battles. They have some coders on their team. They're trying to get the balance right. They just want to have some fun. So it doesn't look like they're a very rigid group. They're pretty welcoming. They were happy to have me there. I was happy to be invited and happy to learn about it. So I'm hoping, the hope is that this takes off, and then we can kind of have this as a regular, because Biter Battles for me is very fun to watch and call and observe and do all that business. And if we can target that 45-minute match, like that is bite size, I am down.
Yep. And we got to get Shred Guy back too, so he can join us.
Oh man, if there is one guy that I miss in the Factorio community, man, it is Shred Guy.
Yeah, he was great.
He's great. He's like if those of you who don't know Shred Guy, I guess it used to be Shred Guy 99. He's dropped the 99. He hasn't streamed in forever. It's just twitch.tv/Shred Guy, SHREDGUY. And this guy was like beer. You remember your first ever sip of beer? You drink a sip of beer and you go, oh, Ugh,
Yeah. And I committed to drinking the whole thing.
This is gross. This is gross.
It's gross.
I can't see how anybody likes to consume this beer. And then you get a second one, you go, okay, all right, I choked that down.
Yeah.
Third, fourth, and 2 weeks in or so, if you give it a little bit, your taste buds mature, and then you start going, okay,
where's the craft beer?
It's pretty good. Can I get a craft beer? Let's see. Let's try. There's different flavors, you mean there's different genres of beer and there's different regions and all that other business? Shred Guy, when you first meet him, is like that first sip of beer. You go, oh God, oh no, no, we can't do this. You give him 2 weeks and he'll get you. He will win you over. He's pretty great. He's very sharp. He's very funny. But your first taste of Shred Guy, you will probably not like. I know I didn't like him at first. He grew on me
at first.
He grew on me.
I like this guy.
He grew on me, and I went, "Oh yeah, this guy's one of my favorites." Right. So go check him out. If he ever streams again, make sure you tune in. He's great. So
yeah, and if you're interested in the biter battles, I saw at least 2 people today streaming the actual play. Not even just shoutcasting, the actual players.
Yes,
2 or 3 were online.
Yeah, I think Zemultus was on and doing it, and Omni I think was streaming. He was in game. Lots of those guys. So it was a pretty great start of a new community event. I hope it's going to be a good one. So, but otherwise, the things that we need to do to take it live, right? Here's what we need. Here's what we really need. All right, to get this going. One is some of these are much harder than the others. Just straight off. Number one, we need a couple of folks to host some servers. Yeah. That's the easiest part of it, because most everybody who is passionate about Factorio goes, me and my buddies, we can throw together $5 a month, 6 of us, pay for a $30 a month server, and we can run some Factorio.
Yeah. You got streamers involved, and streamers have a lot of people who watch them, and those people have servers. There's always an opportunity to stand up a server.
Yeah, that's an easy part, but that one we'll need to nail down. Second one, which is the harder part, which we're going to go in increasing difficulty of what we got to do to get biter battles back. Right. Second thing we got to do is get upgraded to 1.1. That may take some doing, because I don't know what the code is like. I don't know what the biter battle code is like, and how well it's written, or how reflexive it's written, right? Or how flexible the code is, or how well it's commented. But we need someone to be able to invest time in the code the same way Comfy was able to invest in the code for several months of commitment, because in the middle of a tournament, we would get a patch, and then maybe the mod would break, maybe not, but then the server has to be rolled, the mod may have to be rolled, the scenario may have to be updated. There is a commitment for software support. Like we started off talking about what it means for software support, right? There's a life cycle, and there's commitment, right?
Yeah, it's hard to get devs.
That's a harder thing, but I will tell you something about that line item is that the Factorio community is amazing, world class when it comes to having coders that are willing to offer endless amounts of time into just a passion project.
Oh yeah, right? Look at space exploration and Bobs and Angels. Look at all these full featured mod packs. It's crazy.
Yeah, while that's a challenge, that's still, I would put that in an easy to medium to solve. We can find some folks to do that, right? It is a commitment, but there's a big global world-class pool to choose from, right?
Yep.
Thirdly, and the hardest one, always whenever you have something like this, is the organization. What day we're going to do it, who's involved, what the teams are going to be, what time it's going to happen. Can this captain get 3 people together? Can this captain get 3 people together? Can we practice independently so that we don't get into the match and embarrass ourselves. Like, there is a time and coordination commitment that cannot be understated.
Yep. And you need a core group to start it. And then hopefully it's like a snowball and just getting more and more people, right? So if you can get 4 teams to play regularly and they don't have that ramp up for practice, you might get a 5th and you might get a 6th. And then other people might be interested and you might have 12 teams. And once you get that point, now you got critical mass. It just keeps going and rolling.
And what might could happen is if we can organize a nice small little 4-team bracket. Nothing like a Final Four type of, something that would happen in the NCAA basketball or, deal where you have the Final Four and single elimination, maybe double elimination, but you play 3 matches and you're done, right? And that's the winner. So that it would be a great starting point if you could field 4 teams of 3, and then have a coordinator to put it up on a little a cloud native web app, and you could add your teams in there and have your brackets like we did the last time, right?
Yeah.
And have your scores and have your updates and do that. We could say how many teams you have, how many, is there a bracket generator that we could update on the fly? I'm sure there's one. I am sure there's a free utility out there that has a bracket generator.
Like for the phone, a bracket generator for your phone for like football games or leagues or something like that. There's no way anybody has ever thought of doing that.
Right. There's no way. Right.
No way.
It's out there. we have a bracket generator, but more importantly, we have team captains that are willing to field a team that is prepared. And we also have, it's kind of got to be one dude that steps up and goes, all right, we're going to do a February contest. 4 teams. I'm looking for teams. Who's up? Are you in? Can you start practicing? What's good? And it has to coordinate all of that and coordinate the server and coordinate the people and do the stuff. Yep. There's kind of got to be one mastermind that does that.
There's got to be somebody who's really dedicated, spending a lot of time writing up a lot of posts, getting people involved, figuring out plan Bs. Because the worst thing that can happen is you get 4 teams signed up. You get there, 2 of the teams say, we're down 2 players, we can't play.
Right.
It's like, well, come, but I like the pickup games. Pickup games, consistent.
That's right.
Little to no organization required from an individual. It's just self-organized. Those are a great start. If they can get those if they can get those pickup games down to like, oh, you know what? We have 25 people. We're going to do 2 6-versus-6s instead.
Boom. Now, Yes. Now
you're starting to form metas and you're starting to form A's and B's, A team, B team back in high school. Were you on the good team or the, like the everyone gets to play team? So once you get to that point, then those A team players, maybe they just naturally become friends. Bam, they got themselves a team. They play together. They like it.
That's right. Yeah, that would absolutely be ideal, is if that could take off. So what we may do, what I may try and do, given this, actually I'm not going to be around on Saturday, but I may try and get this plug-in part of my daily or part of my weekly deal where I go over and see what's going on, or maybe I don't call the match or whatever, but I keep it involved, or maybe I go and maybe I'm a player in a pickup game, a casual pickup game. Maybe I can generate some momentum from that, because what I do like to do for my content, some of that stuff is if we can get that tournament on. I freaking loved doing those biter battles. I think I did every single match. I'd wake up early for the ones that were super early. I would stay up late. For the ones that started in like Australia time. I would skip work occasionally and duck out of work a little early to make sure I'm home in the chair at 2 p.m.
There's evidence of that, man.
2 p.m. on a Tuesday. What? 2 p.m. on a Tuesday? I should be in meetings. Oh no, I got a doctor's appointment. So
you tell your secretary to cancel all my meetings.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out. I'll be out doing some stuff.
Yeah, I enjoyed shoutcasting too. I was there for a whole bunch of shoutcasts. It was great. I didn't enjoy playing it as much, but I enjoyed dropping in and talking about it. It doesn't appeal to me from a gameplay standpoint, but I understand a lot of people like it, and it's a great way to get multiplayer Factorio in a way that's not, just build something and rip other people's blueprints up.
Yeah.
So, a lot of potential.
Yeah, so it really does. I'm lukewarm. I'm okay to be a player, but I'm like you. Look, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to need practice time. I'm going to need to clear out my calendar. And by the way, streaming. By the way, we're going to be practicing on stream. This is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be hitting this hard, and I'm going to need 2 to 4 people on my team who are going to be there every single time, and we're going to go kick ass. And we're going to prep, and we're going to grind it. And you're going to be struggling to follow along because we're going to do it, and then we're going to stop. We're going to figure out what we did wrong. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to restart.
Yep.
And we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again, and we're going to iterate, and we're going to get
band practice.
It's going to be brand practice,
like a quartet or whatever. It's like started, measure 271. I didn't like that. We'll go back 271. Let's do it again.
And we're going to do it.
271. So, let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Let's do it again. And so what we would do,
not a game. We're not talking about
a game.
We're talking about
practice. Not a game. Practice. What do we talk about? We talk about practice. So look, if we're going to practice, then we're going to clear that out. I get all kinds of stuff saying, "Hey man, why are you in the broadcast booth and why aren't you down on the field? Why don't you compete?" Well, that's why. It's a binary thing for me. We're either going to go all in or we're not. I'm not just going to put a toe in.
Yeah, as soon as you commit, as soon as you say yes, you're talking 40, 50 hours of time invested, right?
For sure.
That's a project, especially for somebody who's got a lot of stuff going on, streaming, producing content, kids, family, work. It all adds up.
Right. And by the way, my list of things that I want to do that with, speed runs, default settings, like I've got a long ass list of stuff I want to do. I want to commit to and do that. Right. So, I really enjoy being in the broadcast booth and cracking wise and making observations. Like I've got 5,000 hours in the game. I'm a former world record holder. I'm a former world record holder speedrunner.
Your resume sounded better than mine.
Bullcrap.
I only got 4,000 hours.
Yeah.
I'm also a former
world record
back
holder,
in the day.
I held that record for around, I think it was around 29 hours. I got the world record. And so, I'm also a consistently 9th place ranked speedrunner. And so I like doing those observations. I like doing that. I can crack wise. I'm probably much more talkative than most other people in the Factorio community. One can see, right? And I'll show up and do that thing. But I do like, so on that side of the spectrum is kind of no prep, well, some prep, but very little prep, versus getting on the field and practicing is a lot of prep. Somewhere in the middle is a nice balance, which is why I keyed in on that pickup game.
Yeah.
There's really, you need to know what you're doing, but there's really no pressure, right? There, you can get in there and learn. You're now in there with potentially 4 other strangers or 6 other strangers, and you're in there with voice and you're trying to make this thing happen, or you can try some other things. And it's not a lag fest, because all the other ones that I got invited to, it was like 50 players per side.
I remember those, yeah.
And
just people taking all the resources, and then a billion biters and 25 UPS.
And 25.
I remember that.
Okay,
yeah.
I could deal with all that other crap. I cannot deal with 25 UPS.
No, I thought they fixed that. I hope they fixed that. It would be great if they did.
It was such a lag fest, and at some point, I would be attacked by biters. I would have all my defenses, and then it would stutter and then I would be dead. And I'm going, okay, well, if my moves and my defenses don't count here, then why am I playing? And I was okay, bail. Yeah.
Check it out, the pickup games. If we can get those pickup games big, we could maybe join in on a Saturday. Just get a whole bunch of people, have fun.
Yep.
Some medium-sized games, and have it not be a lag fest, and see what happens.
All right. So last thing, we are in the middle of iterating through 1.1. We did a previous podcast on 1.1, and I think we were at 1.1.1 last time.
I don't remember.
I don't remember where we were, but we did with a big 1.1 update. We did a podcast right after that, and we saw lots of new observations. Since then, do you have any other things that have come up in the release notes that you have keyed in on? So let me pull that up real quick, and let's go to not the blogs, it's the blog forums.
Wiki.
I was just gonna look at the release notes and see.
Yeah, Wiki's got them.
Oh, Wiki has them. Okay.
Yeah.
Factorio, wiki.factorio.com, release notes. There you go. All right. I guess we can go. You want to go from 1.1.1 first?
1.1 was the big one. We talked about that one for sure.
Yep.
1.1.1, not so much. Something about tooltips. Okay.
Yeah, okay, all right, I'm on the page now, so I can track along with you. Tons of bug fixing. The sound slider, interface options. Yeah, tooltips was a big one. A couple of mod fixes, not a ton there. Let me just open all of these up. 6, let's see.
I haven't noticed a whole lot. 1.1.2 had a whole bunch of bug fixes. 1.1 fixed a big issue where if you had something in your cursor and you clicked on your bar, it would swap out whatever was there. And people didn't like that because they set up their bar. They didn't want to remove it every time they clicked on something. They just wanted to select it. So they had a very quick feedback from user experience loop there. It's like put something out there, get some feedback, kind of change it, and they fixed it right away. So that was pretty nice.
Yes.
With 2, just a huge amount of bug fixes.
Yeah, so 1.1.1 was 1.1.1.1. There's kind of the big ones. The next change that we didn't know that we needed was in 1.1.4, and when you pull that up, everything else was bug fixes. None of that really affected me or my players or anything. But read that first one of changes right there, and you'll immediately see it.
When building electric poles by dragging the last built poles always connected with wire before considering other connections.
Holy crap. How long did we need that change? Right? Remember? And it was done in one of the wiki and one of the, it was a GIF in one of the FFFs. And it was Kovarex dragging these power poles, and then you see him go, and he shakes his mouth. He shakes his mouse, and he's going, it doesn't connect. That one, right freaking there. That's the one we needed like crazy.
They did a lot of good changes with electric poles.
Right. That was the big takeaway. Menu confirm button. Let me go find that one.
Click on this more button. Oh, here's an example video.
Oh, here's the okay right here. Let's go to FFF 363 because that's where we talk about 2 of these.
Here, give me a link.
In chat.
Got
I think
it.
it's the same one. Yeah, in chat. So we do. I don't think we did this one.
No.
The arrows. We needed those like crazy. The alert arrows of when something was destroyed or where your build was. Like we needed those big time. Alert, lighting was good. Whatever. Yeah, the one right up above that one, above the bells.
Yeah, this is nice.
The alert arrows.
Where are we going to attack from? Everywhere.
Everywhere, right? And you actually had to click on you had to go down there and click on the exclamation point, or you had to hit the M button and go out to map view to figure out where you were. This way, the alert arrows are just so awesome. I enjoy those. And you can just go down and hover over the alert and they'll pop up instantly, right? You can hover over them or not, and it'll just dynamically show you.
Yep. You know what?
Stuff we didn't know we needed.
Doesn't get enough gratitude about is this new GUI.
Yes.
It is slick. Okay, this look here, this feels really nice. It's a little bit darker than it was before. It's got the darker background. I went and watched a speed run of my own speed run from a long time ago because I wanted to see what I did. And I open inventory menus, and it's got that really bright white background type thing. And it looked like at the time we didn't think anything of it, but compared to what we have now, this is just much easier on the eyes. It looks really nice. They did a really great job, and we never really talk about it. It's just every portion of this just looks really good.
Yeah, and you'll see. So camp out on that for a second. So you see the outer border is kind of a higher topology. Then there's an inset, and you have a little bit of graphical relief around the difference between the inserter. On that page right there, the inserter versus the character menu. So there's the main border, then there's the inset border, and just a little bit of shadow, a little bit of relief, very easy on the eyes. And then there's a little bit of inset further on the character slots, right?
Yep.
Same with the picture of the inserter. You can see how the inserter behaves, and you have your stack size. You could potentially put some more stuff in that menu if you wanted to, because there's lots of good real estate there. But there's lots of good real estate, but it doesn't feel wasted because your inventory is right next to it, and you're kind of squaring up with your own inventory to be able to, do the thing.
It's real nice.
Primo, man. Yeah,
real nice.
Primo.
Really is in the eyes.
Yeah.
That dark look.
Yep. Okay, that one. I want to find the power poles one. That one. That is something that we I guess consciously I never thought I needed. Let me see if I can pull up that specific bug. Oh, it's a YouTube video. You may need to.
Yeah, it open here. Where was that? This one. Is this it?
This might be. It's the one at the wall. Yep, that's the one. I just went to the bug and that one. Yeah. Yep.
So sometimes it doesn't place.
It doesn't place, right? That's exactly right. And that is the fix. So it does the logic when it gets to the end of the road, and there is the end of the length, and there is a existing connection. There's some logic, and it'll go ahead and connect. Whereas it would just skip afterwards. It would just skip over it later on. That's really good. And then not too many other changes. Look at the most recent one is 116. And it says allowed to use productivity module on nuclear fuel production. That's a weird one.
It doesn't change anything for me.
Well,
you can prod one more thing.
Yeah, but okay, all right.
It's just free nuclear fuel. I don't know.
I'm not in. Okay, here's the thing. I'm not interested in the impact on the game necessarily. You're right. It's a very low impact. I'm interested to know why. Why did they choose that fuel? Maybe someone in the office just went, "Hey, you can productivity all the other fuels, but you can't productivity this one."
You know what I think it is coming from a developer. Sometimes we fix a bug that causes a change, right? Say, okay, well, now that I fixed this bug, this other thing is going to act slightly differently because it's always acted wrong and nobody has noticed it. And our seeding probably said, "Yo, Govarex, I fixed this other bug. It's going to change this. Now this is going along with the rules that we always stated. Is that okay?" And Govarex is like, "How long is it going to take to make it the other way?" And our setting is like, "A week to undo it. It's going to take me a week to undo it."
Right.
And Kovacs probably said, okay, leave it. We'll just put it in the release notes.
Right.
It's always something like that where a developer just happens to fix it on accident, and then they just say, okay, go for it.
Okay, go for it, right. Probably what's happened. Probably what happened. Or it was, okay, that's probably, okay, you're right. That's probably first place. Second place is, hey, man, why can't we productivity all the other fuel and not this one? All right. Why can't we do that? We can productivity rocket fuel
and solid fuel, yeah,
and solid fuel. Why can't we productivity nuclear fuel? Why not? What are we doing here? Yeah. And they probably went, oh, okay, yeah, all right, let's do that.
Yep. I think you're supposed to be able to productivity anything that is not placed.
Right. Yeah. Yes. And then they said and again, but they did ask the question, how long is that going to take to do? Oh, it's 2 minutes. It's a flag.
Yeah.
Right.
It's data change.
It's data change, right? Yeah, and that's it. Monstrous amount of bug fixes, right?
Yeah.
Really, really good. If you look at the latest 333 or 363, it was on November. Have we had any other FFF since then? We haven't. Last FFF was November 13th. And what we said in our last podcast was we said 1.1 will be stable by Christmas time.
Oh, did we?
We did. Well, freaking TikTok, right? Because we got 2 days till Santa takes off, right? So like, hey fellas. TikTok. Let's get this done. I think now at this point it might be like a January thing. They must have found another batch of bugs that they're really not comfortable leaving for the dark winter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's probably what this tells me.
Yeah, probably.
Even though, I mean, look at this. If you look at the last 363, the first one. Oh yeah, there you found it. Look at
this is 362.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. For some reason, yeah, that's the one. You see the shake. Ah,
just
the frustration. Just plays it. Yeah, right. That's the one I was looking for. But if you think about look up 363 again and look at the first graph. 1.1 is getting close. It was Kovacs and it's the bug count over time. Forum bugs versus dev tasks. Yes, that's it. Mm-hmm. That is a monstrous amount of work.
Yeah.
And an absolutely dream of a graph. If you're looking at if you're an agile task manager, this is fantastic data to present to your manager. Look what we're doing over time, man. Yeah. This is great.
Usually they're the other way though. They start with like nothing and then you creep up to the top.
Yes. And then
but this one's nice. This one's nice. It's like, this is what's left to do. Nothing.
Yeah, right.
It's a nice burn down.
With this first, it is a nice burn down. Speaking from, so I'm not in the agile world. I mean, I kind of am, but I'm more in the administrative world. But I get in my professional gig. I look at these sorts of things all the time. I see them be presented. This is a dream graph. It's a dream to be able to present something like this. Over and what was that? 5 months. Yeah, even less, 3 months max. Yeah, less than 3 months.
8 to 11, so that's 3 months.
Yeah, it's about a 90-day graph. That's really great.
Yeah. So that's is 1.0 down to 1.1, and then 1.1, and we saw how many bug fixes?
Yeah, a bunch. Big spike right back up. All right. Yeah. Well, that's good.
They still got some work though on the polls.
There's
still a couple of issues that are coming up. There's new issues too.
Right. I would really. I think they now found a bunch of stuff that they're saying. All right, we're not going to do. We're not going to do a Christmas release. We'd like to do that before we take vacation and get on and do all that stuff. But now I think it's going to be mid-January before they're going to go. Okay, we buried it. Let's do the thing. Let's ship stable. Count it. Ship the bug fixes. Count it as stable. Ship it. Let's do it.
Yep.
And then
start
we get
on game number 2, Factorio 2.
Oh yeah, really?
Come on.
Really? You got that? Man,
that's doubtful.
I don't know.
See.
What do you do? Going back to where we started this conversation, let's take off on that. What do you like? It would be an absolute shame to break this team up.
Yeah,
it really would.
What game out there?
What game out there
doesn't have a 2? Portal.
And what? Portal 2, yeah. We actually Ash just played through both of the portals. The other day, he said he was amazed. He loved
Half-Life.
He loved it. Half-Life, yeah.
Dota,
yeah. Leisure Suit Larry. I can't. I couldn't think of any other.
I mean, how many games don't have a 2 when they're that big?
When they're that good,
they all go to something 2. I mean, there's not going to be a Fortnite 2 though. We know that Fortnite just lives on forever.
Yeah, there was a Grand Theft Auto 2.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 2. They got all the way up to 5. Super Rude Bear 2. I mean, sure.
Is there a Super Meat Boy 2?
Age of Empires 2, StarCraft 2, Warcraft 2,
Borderlands 2.
2. I mean, how many games these days that land big don't make a 2?
Yeah. And then they could even do what I told them to do and discount Factorio into the bin and as a launch number 2 in however many years it takes them to do it. Yeah. All right. Well, what do you got coming up this week? Let's get out of here, man.
Okay. So this week I actually have a different answer for you. What's going on this week is I'm doing some 100% speedrunning stuff. So we're starting off with some practice. Not a game. We're not doing the game. Just practice.
Not a game?
We're doing practice. All right. So if you want to be a world-class speedrunner, you got to practice. So what we're doing is we're doing the first hour and a half to 2 hours of a 100% run. And we're doing it over and over again to make sure that our start is solid. And I've affectionately referred to it as bot lap. Okay. You know what bot lap is?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So the challenge there is, can you getting on track like a pro in under 90 minutes with Lazy Bastard, standard part of every 100% run, but can you then also make it so that your bots do the work, that your bots place the train, not you, but the bots. So that means it's just one less thing that you have to do. And time, as you know, is the only resource that really kind of matters. Is your time. How can you best spend your time? Mm-hmm. So we've been practicing what I've been referred to as bot lap. It's just botting on track like a pro. We've done it once, but we failed on a couple times. So trying to get that time down from 130 on that to like 120 so that you can be consistent, because who wants to fail? So we're going to work on that. And we're also going to work on the stage between an hour and a half and 2.5 hours next. Cool. So that's coming up this next week. How about you?
Yeah. I have so Biter Battles was my big takeaway. I am doing so I'm done for the day after this. The rest of the week standard streaming, but it'll be earlier. I'm actually going to stream on Christmas Day early on. I'm gonna wake up and we'll hang out, do the thing. I'm on every day except for I will be out on Sunday. Sunday is when I'm going to do my family thing. Everything else is we're gonna keep going with stuff. Hey, let me actually pull up my stream here. Saturday. In that case, let me make sure. If that's the case, Saturday we may look into the pickup game. I don't know when they start. Hopefully they start at the right time.
You might have to wake up early for it.
I may have to wake up early for it. I hope they start at a good time for me. But I'm going to go see if Mike can do that on Saturday. My schedule says I'm off on Saturday. It's going to be skip it. I'm going to be off on Sunday to do that stuff with my family. We're gathering together and doing all that stuff on. We'll do that Friday night for my family, and then my extended family will be Sunday. We're going to be outside and socially distance and all that business. And also, one thing that we do as a family, together, is every Christmas Eve we watch a Christmas movie.
Where's Westu to chime in on his favorite?
4 years ago, we watched Die Hard. 3 years ago, we watched Die Hard 2.
Okay. I see where this is going.
2 years ago, we watched Die Hard 3 on Christmas Eve. Last year, we were out of good Die Hards. We did not watch 4. That's where we end. We were out of good ones.
Burned.
Last year we did. We stopped there. Last year we did Home Alone, which is an amazing Christmas movie. It was great.
It is. Classic.
This year, Scrooged with
Bill Murray.
The Bill freaking Murray vehicle. We will watch that together as a family. That's been on my list for a long time. In fact, I wanted to do that last year, except I was voted down by chat. Yeah. And I said, okay, we're starting off. We're going to do it this year. So that will be our Thursday night family movie. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to stream early. We'll be off Thursday night. We're going to watch Scrooged as a family, the Bill Murray vehicle. It'll be great. Otherwise, normal stuff other than Sunday, I'll be off. So good stuff. All right. Thank you very much. Let me wrap us up. Thank you very much for tuning in. All the links for everything we talked about will be in the description below. If you want to go follow my buddy Paul, his link is in the description below. Twitch.tv/Rain9441. My link is there, twitch.tv/Clowntown. If you have a question or comment about anything we've talked about today, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section below. Keep conversation going. We both have Discord. You can come hang out, say hi. If you want to get a hold of me off air, I'm in Discord. I'll chat with you, or I almost always respond to all the YouTube comments. All the links, details of everything we talked about today is in the description below. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next time.